Guys, I want to get loud all of a sudden.
Do it.
Sorry, I'm going to...
I knew it was coming.
I'm sorry, guys.
Can't
I
hold
need
them back.
to do that.
It is. You feel like Poseidon chucking that bugger down in the water.
Sucking that bugger. Did you butt out that deer?
I did not butt out that deer, but the next one I get, it's getting its butt out.
Is that little Stevie out here in the back?
Drobop. Bow drop, I'm sorry. Drobop. Hello. Stay tuned. I'll be back after my seizure.
Every little chipmunk that was running around, everything's dead quiet, and I went like that just happened.
I saw what is in essence a nature-gasm.
All right, welcome back, guys. We are in the Sonic Campfire. There it is. I always like to hear that sound.
Yeah, right.
You're listening to the Rutten River Pursuit podcast, your home for all things epic in the outdoors. We're here once again. I'm Ryan. Who do we got with me?
I'm catfishing.
I'm Steve.
I'm Will.
Uncle Buck.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
I'm ecstatic.
You're at a loss for words? Yeah.
Words are hard.
Well, I'll tell you what. You guys are all in for a wicked awesome time tonight. I'm telling you.
Really?
We've got a guest tonight. You know, I'm just going to go right ahead and get it out.
Get it out.
Yep.
Who is it?
We've got from television's No Offense, Mr. Charlie Moore, the Mad Fisherman.
Hey, Charlie.
Nice.
Hey, how you doing?
Awesome.
Doing fantastic now.
Charlie, there's a lot of questions that I've got for you tonight, a lot of things I want to get into. Now, for me being a huge Bruins fan, a lot of it's going to be Bruins-centric, so...
Oh, come on.
Everybody here around the table is going to want to talk about fishing.
Or Penguins.
Or the
Blackhawks.
No.
What?
See, I finally have like a fellow Bruins fan to talk to.
Gotcha.
So I always have to sit around the table. Flyers fans, Penguins fans, Blackhawks.
You had to make a
fans.
long distance call to get there, didn't you?
Well, yeah.
Sidney
right.
Crosby.
Not everybody's got good taste. Me and Charlie know what's going on.
I guess.
All right, so Charlie, I was thinking a great place to start on this. I referenced it at the beginning here. We called you the Mad Fisherman. Can you give us a little background on yourself, where you got started, and that moniker of the Mad Fisherman? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, so I've been on TV like 20, I think 3 or 4 years now, and started back in Nesson, which is New England Sports Network, which is owned by the Red Sox and the Bruins, on a little show called Front Row Magazine, right? So it was like I only had like 3 minutes like every other week.
Oh, wow.
And I got paid like $50 an episode.
No kidding.
Perfect.
Yeah, and
covers bait
it
and
was
tackle.
good though. Yeah, what?
Covers your bait and tackle for the week.
It didn't even cover my anything. Oh man! So we were doing a show. It was very, very cold. It was like 46 degrees, 42 degrees. We were on Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire, and I was with the president of the Boston Bruins at the time. And you know, Bruins fans are tough, and there was a couple other hockey fans that were in this bar. We just went in for a burger and a beer and kind of warming up, and I know everybody up on the lake, so I didn't know these people, but I went in and they were riding the president pretty hard, and I was cool about it. I'm like, listen, this is my guest. He's with me. I go, I'm going to need to ask you to stop talking anything, or I'm going to come over the table and I'm going to lay you out. That's what's going to happen. And so he did it again. He did it again, and I just went over the table and just grabbed him by the neck and started laying him out. And I was laying him out, and the cops came, and they just kicked the guys out. I said, listen, you know, they knew me. I'm like, listen, just throw them out here, whatever. Well, anyway, word got back to the network, and word got back to the Red Sox, and then next time, Tom Caron, who does the Red Sox, you know, broadcasts and whatever, and he's on Nesson. He's been on Nesson for as many years as I have. He says on, you know, everyone was talking about it in town, Boston and all of New England. They were like, geez, this guy's nuts. So Tom Caron said, hey, we're shooting up to Lake Winnipesaukee to fish with Nesson's own Mad Fisherman, because I lost my mind, you know what I mean?
That's a great story.
That's epic.
Yeah, and so it just took off. I never forgot, I was sitting at home in my house, and I was at my mother and father-in-law's house, because that's where I lived for 10 years, and getting the show going. And I was sitting on the sofa, just like, and it was like one of those light bulb moments where it's like when he said Nesson's own Mad Fisherman, I was like, huh? Call the copyright lawyer, get the T-shirts printed. Here we go. So, and it just kind of, stuck from that point on.
That's epic. Yeah, that's awesome. What a story. I mean, some of us, I don't know how or what part of your career Beat Charlie Moore happened, but I mean, that's kind of, some of our introductions to you was the Beat Charlie Moore show.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just pivotal. It's like if people all know the details of how and what and where, it just kind of changed outdoor programming. I mean, it blew up. I mean, it was just, it was pretty epic. It was pretty a great thing to be part of. I mean, the ESPN was very much into this new style programming that was developed really by me at Nesson, and they had nothing like it. Obviously, Bristol, Connecticut's, in my backyard. So one day, the president of programming for ESPN2 walked by the cafeteria, and apparently he had heard these people, women and, guys, and they were just having lunch, and they were dying. They were laughing so loud, and they were, and then he leans into the cafeteria and says, "What are you guys doing?" He goes, "Oh man, watching this Charlie Moore guy here." And what I was doing was I was fishing with Ted Kennedy and impersonator, and I was fishing with an Elvis impersonator, and I was fishing with Austin Powers. So Ted Kennedy pissed me off, so I started slapping the shit out of Ted on the boat. I was slapping him, and then Ted would say, "Charlie, why don't you throw a spin?" I'm like, "Shut up, Ted. Ted, shut up. Just sit down and you shut up, Ted. You don't talk until you're spoken to, Ted. You hear me?" So the guy said, and then the guy goes, "Well, what?" And he goes, "This whole cafeteria is watching Charlie Moore on Nesson." He's like, "Yeah." He goes, and then he said he went back to his office and he talked to his secretary and said, "Get me Charlie Moore on the line right now."
That's awesome.
And then so we got to talking about the Beat Charlie Moore thing, and it really was. Really was cutting edge. I mean, I don't like to take credit for things. It is what it is. It's, up until that point, people thought I was like the Antichrist of fishing. And you got all these shows now, but they're all derogatives from Beat Charlie Moore, whether it's the Major League Fishing or the Skeeter Challenge or Scott Martin Challenge, which was fine. I like Scott. I mean, his father told me that he was a big fan of the show, and that's where the show idea came from. But I mean, the concept of the shows, I'm a TV guy. I'm a comedian. I'm an actor. I love to fish. I've been fishing my whole life. I'm really good at it. But I just watch these shows and I was like, this is just, I mean, I love to fish, but that doesn't mean I can love to watch a really bad TV show. And it's like, this is just so bad. So let me get this straight. You're going out with your friend and you're having your buddy videotape it, and you're gonna tell me, a grown man, you're telling me what lure to use and how to fish? I don't even stop and ask for directions when I'm lost for 3 hours. Okay, I don't need you to tell me how to do anything. Okay, I don't need a life coach. Thank you. I've got plenty of life coaches. Thank you. Now go away, please. So when these shows started, they were on the water and they ended on the water. My show, like we have a show when we go to the gas station and people come over and talk to me, and the guy's like, "Hey, Charlie, I know it's 11 o'clock. You want a beer?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm not really working right now. I mean, I know I'm doing a TV show, but I'm always open for a beer and a burger. I can get on the water too. I'm fine. It's okay. I'm cool." And next thing you know, we're filming like me, getting a burger and getting a beer, talking to people. It's like that's what the show was. It was, and as far as like the ratings go, and the ratings just exploded. And, the whole show exploded. And, it was totally unbelievably trend-setting for me. Obviously, it opened a lot of doors, but really, I enjoyed it. We did 98 episodes. We did 8 seasons. The first 3 episodes, the president of ESPN, he had the first 3 shows of Beat Charlie Moore done on DVD, and he sent them out to all the producers that had shows on ESPN. And he said in a letter, and I have the letter framed on my wall with the first 3 episodes, he said, "This is Charlie Moore. You all know Charlie Moore. If you don't, get to know Charlie Moore. And by the way, these 3 shows are the future of ESPN."
Wow.
That's a heck of an
That's
endorsement.
amazing.
Yeah. And you're 100% right. I mean, if I'm wrong on this, I believe it was a little bit of reality TV before
that exact same term.
before reality TV, you know, and I did like, I mean, you go to the nicest restaurants in the town and like you said, even like, you know, whatever, it's just, you're on it. That's your life.
The full on experience when you travel to the place, you take us on the journey with you. It's the whole trip.
In a normal person's point of view, it's not. If I get mad at my wife, I'm like, "Hey, listen, you know what? I'm gonna drop you off and pick you up at the airport for you if you keep on talking this way." That's all I'm gonna say right now. That's all I'm gonna say right now. If you keep on riding me, I'm gonna take a different plane home. You understand what I'm saying? I will buy another ticket and put you on a bus. Okay? Any questions?
I'm sure she digs that. I bet.
Yeah. Oh no, but she laughs and she knows I'm kidding and I'm crazy, but it's like people at home are like, you know, I'm not trying to change who I am for what I'm doing. Right. What I'm doing is, like I said, you know, I think the fishing thing and the whole fishing shows, it's gotten too much into like my fish is bigger than yours and blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, if you need that and if you want that, if you don't know nothing about fishing, you don't know anything about fishing, and it's just. You know, the show exploded, and then, you know, naturally when you have a hit on your hand, then everybody wants to duplicate, you know, that particular show, and that's what people started to do, it was flattering, but it was also, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of annoying.
I bet.
So.
Yeah. Well, they didn't bring the sincerity. Like, I love the fact that you walk into any situation and you're immediately trash talking people. Like, I love that. Like, and you are who you are, and that is like, I grew up in a predominantly Irish Catholic nugget busting family, and that's how you knew you were loved. Well, you know, you guys all know where that's at, so we don't have to go into that.
Southern California.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, a great example of what Charlie does, and it doesn't matter who's on the boat with him, was when you had the former coach of the Bruins on there, Claude Julien, and I mean, you wasted absolutely no time just busting his chops. I mean, he was having a little bit of trouble, and you're like, Coach, I'm going to ride you all day if you can't get this right. I mean, you didn't let up, and it was phenomenal.
My favorite line was, "I can't believe you're a professional hockey coach." That's my favorite line. I just can't. And I also said, "I can't believe you're a Canadian that can't even cast a fishing line." I can't. I told him to go on Ancestor.com and make sure he was still Canadian.
I don't think you can graduate, you know, junior high or whatever if you can't cast.
Don't they have classes for that in Canada?
At least a spinning reel.
Yeah. But again, I'm not trying to I don't like to take credit away from people who are doing what they're doing now. I give them all the credit, but I don't, when I drive, I'm not really spending too much time in the rearview mirror. And we've always been pretty much trend setting. And, you know, my life is all about, like I said, entertaining people, making them laugh. And that's my first priority whether I'm fishing, whether I'm eating sushi, whether I'm interviewing Bobby Orr, Cam Neely, Godsmack, Leonard Skinner, whoever it is that wants to be on the show. It's really just about entertainment. But now, you have these shows that are like, they try to be crazy and they try to be funny, but really if you talk to professional comedians and producers, and it's just you're pushing an envelope that doesn't exist. You're just trying to be someone who you really aren't. When you meet me in person, I can guarantee you it's 10 times worse than the actual show. I guarantee you.
Hold my beer.
They soften you up, huh?
Yeah, I bet they have to turn you down a bit.
But if you're from an Irish Catholic, predominantly Irish Catholic family, then you know that when you're talking to people and you're having dialogue and you're busting bobbers, that means that you actually pretty much like
Busted
the person.
Bobbers.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you bust the bobbers, man. But I tell you what, when you got someone in the house, like when people know that I walk in and I'm totally quiet, well, now it's Mafia Charlie. He's like, oh my God, he's quiet. Mm-hmm. He's totally quiet. What's going on? When people are silent, that's what frightens me. Not some guy jibber jabbing to Bobby Orr about how he played hockey when roller skates were on the ice. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. Quiet
so
people.
That's
people intimidate me, Charlie. Like, what the hell are they thinking? You know,
you can't get a read.
Exactly. But then the guys that are talking all the time and you can interact with, you get a good feel, and you test limits and whatnot, and yeah, all great. I just, man, thank you for doing what you did, because you helped guys like Uncle Buck out. That's for sure.
I want to ask you a little bit about the show, and in particular, I don't think anybody edits more than you do. It's shot after shot after shot, clip after clip after clip. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's
well, we got a good
so much
team.
action.
Yeah, we got a good team. We have, right now currently we got a bunch of shows in production. I do other shows other than the outdoor lifestyle ones. But I mean, we got a good team. But really, it comes down to, like I said before, we're doing TV, so every scene there needs to be a beginning and a middle and an end. And I watch all of my shows, and I make sure that we all get together and have a glass of wine, whatever, have a cigar, and sit there and go, okay, what do we got here? Why are people watching this? I mean, are you glorifying yourself by thinking that everybody will watch you because you're just putting it on? No, I mean, so you go to a restaurant, it's like, okay, Charlie's eating. It's like, who cares? I mean, there's got to be a reason or a spin on why you're there. If I'm watching the show and I'm boring myself, can you imagine the people at home? Look, I'm not everybody's bag of tea. People talk about it. Oh, I hate him. Oh, his show's the worst. Those are the biggest fans I have. They watch every goddamn episode, man. They watch every one. You know what I mean? But we're all positive. I don't even look at bass fishing forums and all that crap. It's like listening to talk radio if you play for the Penguins or you play for the Bruins or you play for the Blackhawks. I'm not listening to people
about fishing.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what people think about what they think about me. I don't. I care that my family thinks about me and people that know me, a good person, whatever, work hard. But when you're editing the show, you're editing the show for content. Funny is money. Everything we do is good. There's got to be some funny. We just try to be creative and make people laugh. Nowadays when people are out in the world and they want to, they watch these shows, and it's like, I just want to make people get away for 30 minutes and just be like, wow, that's, just laughing out loud. And every time I go someplace, every airport that I'm in, every restaurant, when people come over, the fans, women, everybody, they're like, Charlie, you make me laugh. So, and that's the best thing when someone says, hey, oh man, my family, we sit in front of the TV and all we do is laugh. And it's like, that's really what I'm trying to accomplish.
I like you. I don't like lots of people, but I like Charlie.
Well, with a name like Catfish, I suppose that's a bit of a problem. You know what I mean?
My brothers know me. People that my family know me that I love. I mean, I spent my entire day today walking around a cemetery with some old lady on my arm that I had no clue who she was because she had a cane. I have a giant heart, but people think that I'm a jerk, and I don't care.
Thank God you said heart. Thank God you said heart.
Yeah, I don't care what people think about me or tell me how to fish because I do it my own way. But
that's right.
I love to be. I could catch a 4-inch sunfish or literally a blue marlin, and I'm just as happy. I'm literally just as happy. So
yeah. No, I totally agree with you. But when you look at the normality of the shows and you look at the normality of what we all grew up on, and then you look at what I did, I mean, it's Elvis Presley, it's Chuck Berry, it's all of these things. Mm-hmm. You don't even know the amount of hate mail and the amount of stuff that I went through. You don't even know the people that blew up all those social media sites just hating my guts because I wasn't what they considered to be normal.
Who cares?
Well, that's too bad.
Exactly.
That's too bad.
Who cares? I want you to redo it with Barney, Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee, and Donald Trump lookalike. And I will throwing
out a Chuck Norris there. Wow, we're going deep. That's good.
I will actually help pay to produce that because I'd love to watch. I would love to watch Chuck Norris and Donald Trump go fishing.
The Mad Fisherman slapping around Chuck Norris.
The Chuck Norris.
He don't even need a fishing rod. You know that. No. Chuck Norris don't need a fishing rod to catch fish.
Karate chops the water.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. I'm so happy that you did what you wanted to do in life and did it your way. I find that other people that I've talked to like you have the strongest souls in life that walk their own path. Don't veer from it because somebody else told them to do it. You're not.
No, you can't. I mean, I'm only doing what I want to do, but I mean, obviously, you got to have, a bit. I don't want to sound like I'm egotistical here, but like, I mean, everybody wants to be Tom Brady or be Ben or Joe Montana or whatever, but you got to have talent. But I mean, what we do is we focus on really, really good TV. We have good producers, we have good editors, and like I said, I mean, if you have talent, you hone it and you get better at it and better at it. I never ever set out to be, of course, and I love when people try to fish against me. Then they realize, oh, okay, he's funny, and he's he's a food guy, he's a foodie, he got sports, but when it comes down to fishing and I'm going one-on-one, I mean, I'm going for the throat. I mean, we're playing to win, and that's a whole different competitive side that most people have, which made Beat Charlie Moore really good. Let me tell you this right now: these people were 100% confident they were going to kick my ass, and they were 100% certain they were going to friggin' beat me, and then they lost.
Do you ever see that? You ever see that face of the other guy on the boat that thinks he knows more than you and it's that rut-row face, like when it's like, it's like eight fish to one, and you're like, "Hey, buddy."
I'm still looking forward to seeing that face.
Yeah. Do you need a monster over there to wake up, or what you need?
One day I'll see that face.
Rut-row. He can fish.
When you go out, it's fishing, right? I mean, when you're supposed to have fun, right? I mean.
Unless you're fishing with DK, and then you have to outfish him.
Yeah. Him and his Ned rigs.
He outfished me in Canada. I have to say, not happy about it. Yep.
Charlie, take us back a little bit, if you would, and tell us who introduced you to fishing.
Well, I grew up in Boston Harbor. I did a lot of fishing for saltwater fish. My dad, but I mean, I don't want to say my dad was a great, like he wasn't, he liked boats and he had boats, and I kind of exploited the fishing part of it. And then when I met my wife and I started hanging out with my father-in-law, he actually said, "Hey, you want to go freshwater fishing?" And I was like, "Yeah." And you know how it is when you go to high school and sometimes you're playing football, playing baseball, kind of doing that whole thing, and you just get away from it a little bit when you're a junior and senior, and because you're banging out on the sports and stuff like this. And then I kind of got back to the freshwater fishing with my father-in-law. So then I just, then we just kind of took it from there, and I just kind of got back into the groove of going out and wanting to go out and all that stuff. And then you start wondering what you're going to do with your life. And I remember being I started this little outdoor store, and it didn't work out that well. But my teacher came in, and she was cool, and she was like, "Charlie, you always entertain people. You were always doing the plays, and you were always doing the acting and stuff." And she was, "Look at this show." And I go, "Yeah, I know." And I was like, she goes, you got to be on TV. You'd kill it. That's your thing. That's your calling. And I was like, when she walked out the door, I literally just put a match on and some lighter fluid, and I blew the whole building up, and I just left with her. I'm leaving now. I'm leaving now. You know what? You got a great idea. I'm leaving on a high note. Let's get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying?
T-bone out.
Yeah. I'll buy you a burger.
Yeah.
Buy you a burger.
Charlie, I'd like to go back before all this started and ask a question. When you first started fishing as a kid, what was your favorite thing in your area to fish for? Like, what was it before a single picture was ever taken in life or anybody talked, like, just back to fishing? What was it that you enjoyed, like, cutting your teeth on?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So, like, I would go out and do cod fishing way out in the banks and stuff, and then and striper and bluefish. I mean, those, the flounder, probably the flounder, the fluke, those are the fish that we would really go after. We would totally just be terrifying, the water around Boston, East Boston, Winthrop, that kind of thing. But, back in the day, I mean, the fish was so plentiful, especially the haddock. They were not way out. They were kind of inshore. So, I mean, the haddock, the cod, the haddock, the cod, but really the striper and bluefish and flounder, those are the three. And today that still holds true. Those are the sport fish that you have up and down pretty much the East Coast,
I'm so glad you don't call them rockfish. It wouldn't sound as good coming from you. The striper.
What the right? Oh, they call them rock bass.
Rockfish in Maryland. Yeah.
Yeah, south of the Mason-Dixon line.
People in Maryland that call them rockfish also call Sloppy Joe's steamers.
Really?
Yeah, at their county fairs, there's a big thing that says steamers, and I asked her what it was. And my wife said,
thought he was getting crabs.
I thought you crabs.
I'm sorry, sweetheart, that's a sloppy Joe. And
Really?
they call it a sloppy Joe. It's not a steamer.
Yeah.
Why is it called a
But
steamer?
Charlie calls them stripers.
Yeah, derail, sorry.
Well, a steamer's a clam, isn't it? A clam, you know?
Thank you. That's what
Yeah.
I thought, yes.
Wow.
Why don't you call a Stromboli a meat
What
pocket?
do they call them in Cleveland?
Alabama.
Meat pocket.
That's
Yeah, no, but like you're right. On the East Coast here with like flounder fishing, I think I'm headed down next weekend to Ocean City, Maryland. Those little weird flat googly eye things, they're addicting to catch. Like they love to tear off half my minnow and not take the hook and irritate the hell out of me. But when you get addicted to flounder fishing, that's some good time right there.
And there's some good eating fish too, so I enjoy that. I enjoy getting them on the grill or whatever, or you're baking them up. They're really good. But obviously, if you're going down to that area, I've been down there. My family's originally from Norfolk, Virginia. My mom's from D.C. But
nice.
Obviously, we spent tons of time in Maryland, and going down there for the blue crab, it's pretty much an all-day excursion, sitting in front of the table doing that, which is it's just a total treat.
Have you ever been to a place called Wachapeak? That's down towards Virginia. That's in Virginia's got a place called Wachapeak, which is a big back bay, and I've been down there flounder fishing, and they just have some doormats back there, and it's all little. It's all older guys that don't work and little tiny 4-foot John boats that are half sinking. That it's like it's those weird guys in life that don't do anything else. Like they come in and haven't showered in 10 days, but boy, do they know how to flounder fish. And if you ask them questions, they're either A, strictly confidential and they won't tell you anything, or B, they'll tell you everything because they've been drinking 30 packs in the sun all day.
Exactly.
So
it's all or nothing.
Yeah, you just go by and ask them all. They'll eventually talk.
Someone will spell it. Do you ever get to fish just for fun? Like without the cameras, without having...
He will soon. We're going to invite him down here. You come down on our boat. We won't bring any cameras. No beer. Nothing fun.
Well, wait,
we're just going to catch fish.
It will be
You're gonna
boring.
have a terrible time.
It's good for the podcast if we say it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't get as much time to fish for fun as I like. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, we have, I have my own production company, Mad Fish Productions, and, we have about 8 shows that are in production. So my company...
Wow.
Yeah, we have 2 with the Boston Bruins and the NHL. So I do one show called Behind the Bee, which is a 24-hour all-access show.
And I love it.
We follow the team around every 8 games, hosted by Dennis Leary. So I have to finalize every episode with Cam Neely and Mr. Jacobs, and the other show is Bruins Academy.
Does he make you call him Dr. Dennis Leary? I'm just curious.
No. And I wouldn't either.
Very well.
Yeah, so the other show is Bruins Academy. It's a show geared towards younger kids, college kids, and the entry-level draft kids, and all about the sport of hockey, other players in the league, around the league, that kind of stuff. So again, those shows air on NHL Network and Nesson. So it's between those shows during hockey season and then, Charlie Moore, No Offense, which airs, all over the world. And we're about to sign a big deal with Amazon Prime and Hulu for Charlie Moore, No Offense. And then,
do it.
Cool.
And Charlie Moore will do us on Nesson. So, I mean, sometimes I just want to chill at my house and have a couple drinks and sit in the hot tub. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of what I want to do in my downtime. Kind of just when we do get a little downtime. I
can't imagine
a couple burger sliders.
We had on another fisherman not too long ago, and she said something that made Uncle Buck perk up out of his chair. It was something about dolphin procreation or something. I don't know. There's certain things that make people excited, but I've not seen Ryan play with his beard as much as every time you say Bruins.
Like a girl.
What's his beard thing? When he says Bruins, you're like, You got the beard thing.
Well, I'm mad they're not playing still. There's that.
Yeah. Just get worried when he starts licking our faces, though.
Oh, dear.
I guess.
Oh, I guess that was a Brad Marchand dig. Is that where you're going with that?
Oh, yeah.
Little face licking.
I'm off. I don't know what it.
I hope.
Yeah. it was. It
I
was.
said I hope.
There's a frame of reference to that.
It was a Marchand.
You know, everybody either loves the little ball of hate or hates him.
Or hates the little ball of hate.
Or hates the little ball of hate. I love, and I don't want to go too far down into just talking about Bruins hockey, but I love the fact that he has become an elite player. I mean, when he was just an agitator of epic proportion, he was fun to watch. But now that he has just taken his game to that next level, it is something to just stand back and be astonished by when he's on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, we cover the I see all the I can actually watch a game from my home in Florida or my home in New Hampshire, and on the mic on the headset I can hear them on the ice. So whatever guy is mic'd up, I can watch the game and listen to the guy who's mic'd up. It's pretty insane, but you should hear what they say. You should hear what they talk about.
I can only imagine.
Oh, it's just priceless, man. But those guys, you know what? He's a good player. He's a lot like Cam Neely back in the day. Although the whole lick in the face thing, it's really not going to fly with the Bruins. I mean, they're the big bad Bruins. They're tough. They're not all about licking you. So he's had that talk, which is why he came out with the whole I'm gonna gear it in a different direction. I mean, so he's a great player. I mean, they got some great players. I mean, obviously Bergeron, but I think the real story of the NHL this year is the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, it truly is one of the most epic runs ever. And they got I just don't know if Washington's gonna let them finish it off.
Oh, regardless, we're gonna see a great show. I'm impressed by the first two games of the finals.
Yeah, but Vegas needs to come out on top. I've been making a proclamation for years now.
Agree.
Ovechkin will be the greatest hockey player to never win a cup.
I hope so.
And I need Vegas to pull through here.
I just, but what
you hear me, Vegas?
But what a Cinderella story with Vegas coming out in their first year and being a bunch of B players and dare I say, on the way out, A players, a few of them, and then a guy.
They got a pretty good roster. I mean, it's
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to be. I'm not going to be disrespectful, but I think they're a lot more than B players. I mean, we did not want to get rid of our, our guys. Colin Miller. We did. I mean, we loved him here, but. And then they made some changes in the trades in the middle during the deadline that really got a couple key players to them. So. Imagine if you pick your favorite team right now, Pittsburgh, whoever, and you can simply have an actual draft and pick two players from every 31 team, and you're starting off. You should start off pretty strong, right? I mean,
But
I don't know.
What a great formulary to have an expansion team come into the league, though, and I hope they continue it on with Seattle because it has truly made this season exciting. I love it. I've been getting into hockey more without my team being at all in the hunt.
Yeah. Well, your team needs to stay out of the hunt.
No, I agree with you. I don't want them to water down, but I mean, Seattle's got a great program out there with the city. I mean, their soccer team sells out all the time. They got a great soccer team. They got a great area of fan base there. I mean, so I can see that. But picking Vegas, that arena is absolutely gorgeous. The whole Elvis thing and the whole music and it's really just good for the league and it's good for everybody that likes the sport of hockey. But again, you don't want to water it down by having too many. But I can totally see Seattle coming into the mix. That's for sure.
I'm going to divert a little bit. I mean, I think it's getting. Yeah, I mean, last year we had Nashville and now Vegas. These are all destination, places. I think Cedar Point's going to have their own team next year. Hershey Park.
I see where you're going with that.
You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So how does?
But those are the cities that are going to be able to afford it.
Yeah. I get it.
Do you?
Calm down.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I blew up over that.
Hey, Charlie, just to change it, let's get back into the fishing world a little bit. I know you like to catch the largemouth and the smallmouth, the Larrys and the Sallys. But when you're not doing that, what species are you after in the freshwater when you're not catching bass? Do you?
Well, I do. I mean, we travel around. I mean, I like to go into people's worlds and critique what they do a lot. I mean, I know I don't do it every single episode. I mean, the thing about it is, like I said, is that, regardless of to go back a little bit earlier, even to a comment, like, some of these shows, if they don't catch 5 pounders, then they have no show. That is their show. My show, I could catch nothing and people would be watching it, and it's entertaining. Yeah. And it's what happened. It's like, we don't go out there and stay for 5 days in the water and make it look like we've been out there for 30 minutes. So, what you see me catch is what we really catch. And if it sucks, I tell you it sucks. And that's fishing. If it's great, I'm like, well, this is great. And it's, and don't expect it every time you go out, much like, the game of golf. You're like, I'm playing great. And next game I play like shit. So it's like, the whole concept of the fishing for me is, I go out there, I do what I like, but going into other people's worlds is a serious trait, because whether I've gone to Battle Lake, Minnesota, and fishing for muskie or pike, that was just, that's a treat. So obviously, if I'm not fishing for the Larrys and the Sallys, and I like to be on the salt water, doing a little striper, doing a little flounder, doing a little stuff like that. But I don't venture out too much when I'm in my world, other than the bass, because that's kind of the backdrop for what we do. But when I go to your world, I say, trout fishing, or I like trying to get those muskies. I also like the bone fishing too, the shallow water kind of redfish in the Carolinas, and the redfish and the canals, and that's fun. I mean, that really is sight fishing for those bones, sight fishing for those reds. See, I like those accurate casts. I mean, I really enjoy that. I mean, so to me, that is so much fun. Whether you're in Florida, you skip casting right in front of their face, to get it, that to bite. That is so much. That's accuracy. It's talent. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Did you get connected when you first started? Get connected with like a tackle company or lure company or some major sponsor that to kick it? It sounds like you started fishing just a lot like we did, just with family and friends, and then but you really became a professional somewhat quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I just called up a bunch of people, but I didn't know anybody. I mean, the story is such. I mean, I was, in debt. I was living with my in-laws in their house. I had literally nothing. I mean, I was like, it ain't no joke. And, you hear all these things now, and it's like these internet things and all these, everyone's got all the answers. And I can tell you 99% of it's not true, but it's just, I called up a couple companies, and, I called up. So how it went down was I called Lunker City Fishing Lures, and I got my first sponsorship, and it was like $6,000, and I was like, oh my god! And then I called up a boat, Nitro, and I got they gave me a boat. Well, I already had a boat, and I sold the boat for I sold my 170 Nitro for I think it was like $18,000 or $15,000 or something like that. So now I'm like, okay, I got like $24,000, $25,000, whatever I had at the time, and I'm like, oh okay, well now we're getting somewhere. Well, then I started doing that little 3-minute segment on that front row show on Nesson, and then I started fishing some tournaments. Well, I was doing really well with the tournaments, and I did do very good, and I liked it, and and that was fun. And then I started to do some bass tournaments. Well, when I got down there and did the bass tournaments, I was going to Texas, and I drove to Missouri, and I drove to all the Alabama. I mean, I really drove everywhere, and I did it. Well, it was one time I'm sitting there, and this guy, and I won't get into who he was, he wins, and it's like, he's telling me we're sitting down at the picnic bench, and I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? Congrats. We're like high-fiving and everything, and all these guys get around, these well-known names, and, it's like, yeah, I got my hotel, I got this. He's telling me, I probably cleared like $5,000, and I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, so this isn't going to work for me because I want to be like a multi-millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to make like a real shit ton of money. Yeah. So I'm like this is like, it was a real reality check to me that that I've been on the road, I've been slamming it, I've been busting it. This guy's been on the road slamming it, busting it. He wins, he gets like $80,000, but he really cleared like $15,000 or $5,000. Because he's three tournaments deep. I got a lot of respect for those guys, I really do. But for me, it was like an epiphany. For me, it was like, I don't want to be a tournament angler. Like, I don't want to be, I want to be something different. And that's really what it was. On the flip side of that, my brother was sick, and my older brother was sick, and he was really sick. And so when I was on the trail, I was dealing with that. So in reality, I was actually in Lake of the Ozarks, and I was launching the boat, and then they called me up and said, "Hey, he's not going to make it," or whatever. And I'm like, "Oh man!" I go, "All right." So I got in my car and I drove like 24 hours straight home. And so then he kind of made it, but but it was a couple years to get back. Of course, he's not with us no more. But anyway, that's a different story. But my point was, so 2 years, I was like, you know what? Let me focus on the TV side of things. I can stay here with my brother. I can do what I need to do to be a good brother, whatever. And so that kind of just went that direction. But I mean, Kevin Van Dam is an elite status. I mean, there's certain people who are elite statuses. That have made a good career. Mike Iaconelli is another one that, as far as the tournament fishing goes, there's only a few people who are elite statuses that make money off of these corporations, but they're far and few between. And I got a lot of respect for them as far as the professional angling side of it. It's just I decided that it wasn't for me. I didn't want to do that. It wasn't really what I felt like it made me. I'm a very passionate, I'm a very determined individual. I want to reach for the highest star and the biggest moon, and I want to go after it. And for me, I felt like, yeah, I could probably win, but the reward versus what I'm putting into it for me wasn't there. I'd rather win an Academy Award. I'd rather win an Emmy Award, and that's what I set my goal to do.
That's such a great story about you set out to do something. You love fishing. There was one path that most everybody that wanted a career in fishing, wanted to make it big in fishing, was taking, or at least attempting, and you went a completely different.
Yeah, it wasn't working for him.
Yeah, completely different. But you did it. I mean, you made it.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, there was a few reasons that were pivotal in what happened. I mean, and I decided that it was best for me. And then when I did the show, everyone's like, well, what are your fishing credentials? And like, how many tournaments have you won? I mean, I'm like, I didn't even entertain any of it. I don't care about entertaining any of it. It's a different thing. When you're doing TV, man, you're doing TV. I don't understand that. So to me, I was like, listen, I'm doing a TV show. It's all about ratings. It's all about money. My world's completely different. So whether you're watching a cooking show, whether you're watching Guy Fieri, whether you're watching me, it's about that. So when, winning the Bassmaster Classic is about being a professional angler. The minute you put it on TV, it's all about being a entertainer and being on TV. Mm-hmm. So they're two completely different genres, even though you're tying them both together. So for me, like I said, it really came down to, a lot of guys want to fish, and a lot of guys think that, the passion for fishing is they're going to make a career doing it. Well, I like you said, imagine if you had to mow your lawn to make a career doing that. I mean, think about that. You'd be like, you got to be kidding me.
Charlie,
I'd be so broke.
Charlie, that thought right there, you just really stripped the insulation. We went right down to the bare wire, and that is
interesting.
That right there is the bare essence of why your show was the show it was. And we got away from the professional, and I'm going to spend 5 days out here to get 30 minutes worth of footage, and you made it real. You brought real people on.
You can't fake real.
You can't. Mm-hmm. And you told, thank you, because you opened the world up. It no longer became that canned
but people see
process.
People see real. People can connect with real.
That's right.
Rutten River was real blessed lately. Somebody talked with us, and they came down and filmed us on a fishing show for TV and all, and it was all for fun, and it was very cool. But that's what the guy said to us. He's like, listen, man, when I talked to you guys, I knew that we wanted to fish with you. Like it was just really, because you guys are just soft-hearted, fun guys that are just yourselves, and it was super cool to meet another guy that just loved to fish and doing it like that's what he did for a living.
Yeah,
and to watch,
right.
I don't need to make tons of money.
Well,
I don't need to make tons of friends. If I could just go fishing every day, I'd be happy.
When we got when we got that call, kind of little pee came out. And
But somebody noticed us for us.
well, no, first of all, it was kind of cool that it happened. But when we got the call, I was like, you know, who's going to do it? We have 7 guys here. And then, like, I got to buy them, like, jerseys and we got to get new tattoos and like, we got to do, like...
We got to wrap that boat.
Yeah,
Face tattoos. I want face tattoos.
That's why I got mine.
So I'm kind of, like, freaking out. And then I had the chat, you know, with the producer and the host. And it was just... He's like, no. We just simple...
Simmer down,
I'm
bud.
coming to you. Let's hang
we
out.
definitely gave them simple.
Yeah. It was so nice, and like I said, I just thought it was. We're going to be on TV. It's so much more. You know.
I just saw the look on his face, and I said, "Good morning. Come aboard." Oh yeah, we don't start the day without eating a honey bun. Have a seat. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
Smart.
They were good dudes, and we got a small taste of some of the stuff that you've lived. And that's super cool, man. That's cool to do that kind of stuff. I can't imagine doing it every day like that, and the amount of work that went into just one day. Wow, it's really cool. You have to have a passion not only for fishing but for filming and editing and spending your life doing it, and it's very impressive because you can't fake the work either. People think that being a fishing guide or being on TV or whatever is glory, but there's a lot of work to being a fishing guide. There's a lot of work to
oh yeah,
there's a lot of back
I
end
wouldn't want to do that
for a little front end.
I wouldn't want to do that. It's a lot of work.
And then you turned it around and you turned your love of your Boston sports into a job and a career as well too. I mean, that's
I ever tell you?
Well, I mean,
awesome.
there's things that you probably don't know, and I mean, I'll just jump in real quick with the ESPN show. I was so I went to New York, and there was this New York versus like Boston, like big kind of like a Red Sox Yankees kind of dinner, and it was like probably 2,000 or 3,000 people there. So there was Dennis Leary and Lenny Clark and a bunch of comedians, and I was down there with the Red Sox, and so Mike O'Malley, who's an actor, and he wasn't feeling well, so he came over to me and he's like, "Yo, Charlie, man, I'm not feeling well, man." I'm like, "Oh, I go, you all right, bro?" He's like, "No," I goes, "I can't, like I'm emceeing it." I'm like, "Oh man," he goes, "I need you to step in," and I'm like, "All right, that's cool." And I'm like, so I stepped in, and I lit the entire room on fire, like it was like not even, and everyone's standing there, like the comedians and the actors. And they were just like, "You got to be kidding me. Like, what's up with this?" And I tore no one at the place knew. No 2,000 people knew that this wasn't what's supposed to happen. So I get up there and I host the whole night. And my closing monologue was I laid the place out. Michael O'Malley calls up Jerry Seinfeld and Jerry Seinfeld's agent, and he says, "You need to sign Charlie Moore." So within 2 days, Jerry Seinfeld's agent flies out to my house here. And we signed a deal to do a sitcom. And the sitcom was called Mad Fish. So for 3 years, I was in Los Angeles doing a sitcom called Mad Fish. I did 2 episodes, and then on the 3rd episode, I told them, "Listen, this is not what I want to do. You guys are not doing the writing right. You guys aren't doing this right." I mean, Jamie Eddowes from Animal House, Hoover, and he did he was doing 2.5 Men at the time. Yeah. I mean, the biggest names in Hollywood were doing my sitcom. So I told them, if you're not going to change the writing to make it funny and authentic and real and let me be me, then I'm not going to do it. And so what happened was I walked off the set and I got on a plane and I flew back. Now, subsequently, guess who bought the rights to my sitcom? So I sold the rights to my sitcom with Paramount Pictures to none other than Tim Allen. So the last man standing, a guy's guy who's an outdoor writer, who's like a big guy's guy, that's supposed to be my show. That's my show right there. He bought the rights to the concept of my show. Yeah. So,
you just did it.
They needed him because he's a watered down version of me. I told him that. And Tim and I.
Charlie Moore wouldn't have done the Santa Claus. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, that's great.
So Last Man.
I knew I'd like this guy.
Last Man Standing was supposed to be called Mad Fish at one point.
And then, yeah, I know it was. They Touchstone Pictures bought the rights from Paramount to do last man standing. And then Paramount, if I continued to do what I was doing on my contract, it would have been Mad Fish. But the world that I'm living in right now, where I own my name, I own the shows.
Good on you, bud.
I don't need them. I told them, if you're not going to do what I need you to do to make the show funny and good, then I don't need you. I'm not doing it.
I say the same thing to Will every week, but he never lets me down. Every time I come here, we have more equipment. The mixer board don't fit on the 6x8 table anymore. It's got so many wires. I have no clue how he keeps all this straight.
I'm not. Wait till this comes out.
I just show up and put headphones on. I don't know how any of it works.
See, and Charlie, this is why, with all these revelations that we've heard now, this is why I'm glad we've been able to avoid this entire hour that we've been talking to you calling it a fishing show. I don't think one time I heard anybody calling it a fishing show, and I'm glad we didn't, because it is so much more than that.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to check it out if you haven't already to see what all of it
I
is
have
about.
to. I've not ever spoken to Charlie or met Charlie, but I probably would have never told this story in my life. But I have a quick 3-4 minute story I have to tell because it fits the bill tonight, and it never will again. So, Charlie, I have to tell you, I was a traveling X-ray tech right out of college, and I went to New Hampshire. And by the way, Christie's Pizza on Route 1A is amazing. If you've never been to Christie's Pizza, it's got the best pizza on earth.
Really?
Yeah, we still go up because of that. We still go up to the Hampton Seafood Festival, which is, if you've never been there, you have to. That's amazing. But so this girl at work, this lady at work that was a manager of this little orthopedic center, says, "Hey, I have a niece. She's like, she doesn't have anybody, but she wants to like hang out with you." I'm like, "Well, I kind of have a girl back home." She's like, "Oh, it's okay. That she just wants to like take you out and buy you a beer." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever." So this chick takes me out. Lacey, I can't wait for you to listen to this. So this chick takes me out, and she takes me to a Boston Brewers game, which is the first and only hockey game, honestly, I've ever been to.
Yeah.
And I had a phenomenal time. We had, I guess,
it was a Bruins game.
I guess decent seats or whatnot, but
they're all good seats.
My first hockey game, it was super cool. And it gets better. Like, she takes me to this hockey game. She's a super cool girl. And then she asked me, she's like, "So I know this place down right off the coast of just north of Gloucester, if you want to take a trip in the morning." And they have deep sea fishing. It's like a 2-hour trip out, 2-hour trip in.
Yankee charters.
That's it. You know it.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, he knows it. So here's the bad part. So after the Bruins game, we get a few beers.
Charlie knows what she was asking him to do.
Yeah.
He's got this. All right.
So we get a few beers in us after the Bruins game. And I guess we get in out of the bar about 2:30, and we're having a good time. I'm laughing with her, and we get down to this Yankee Charlie. It's like 4:30 in the morning, and we're waiting to get on the boat, sleeping in the parking lot in the car. I'm pretty. I think I would dare to say I'm pretty lit. We get on the boat, and she's like, "The best place is to sit in the back. Just sit in the back, and so that we can watch the wake of the boat going out, and you can watch like the sun come up." I'm like, "Oh yeah."
And you can smell all the diesel fuel.
love diesel fuel. I love it until you're trashed at 4 in the morning. So the 2-hour trip out was just huffing diesel fumes. And I was cool. It was good. We get out there, and the boat's rocking 4 or 5 feet up and down on both sides. Horizon water.
That's what Uncle Buck calls a Tuesday.
Yeah. Horizon water. And it has this little cab inside where they're like making coffee, 2 bench seats, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, long story short, we're sitting out there. I make it. I know I'm feeling real great. And it's my first time offshore. And they bring out the bucket of clams, and I grab this clam, and there's a double hook with the sinker at the bottom, and I put these clams on, and I'm telling you, I'm fighting the greenness as tough as I can until I catch a fish. I'm catching a fish. We put the lines in the water, captain, anchors up, whatnot, or whatever it is. But I caught 2 fish, reeled them up, smiled for a picture, and I spent the next 8 hours sicker than I've ever been in my entire life, with my head on this strange girl lap inside there while they were cooking these nasty hot dogs. And I was hearing people going, "Oh, he's got a shark on. Oh, he's got blah blah." I couldn't even get up to look. The captain came down and said, "Buddy, I'm sorry, I can't take you in. You know that." I'm like, "Just kill me or throw me off the boat. I don't care."
One or the other.
Chum with me.
Yeah,
Chum with me.
It was the first and only time I've ever gotten seasick. But if you've not gotten motion sick before, it's a horrible feeling. But
I have.
Backing up, the Boston Bruins game was super cool. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'll probably never have another chance to tell that story.
This is perfect timing.
I think you got sick.
I know, yeah.
You probably got sick there. And
What, at the Boston's game?
Yeah, and then
it was all that flat beer.
I disagree. How dare you, sir?
Easy, bud.
The Bruins won that night, so.
No offense.
I see what you did there.
I have been offshore multiple times after that, and for some reason, knock on wood, I've not gotten seasick again. But that day, when we came in and I hit the dock, I still felt the next morning when I went into work, the long hallway. The hallway was moving. Like,
no, 24 hours later, man. You must have slept in your bed, and the bed was just spinning around in that room, man.
I couldn't even drive home. I had to have her drive.
kidding.
Yeah, I had to have her drive me home. It was rough.
Oh yeah, it's bad, man.
It's a horrible feeling.
It is. It's the worst feeling ever.
No control.
You can't stop it. Yeah. Anyhow, I just was sitting here thinking, boy, I've been to a Boston's Bruin game, and I went fishing up there off Gloucester somewhere. And once the story came back to me, it's like it's the only night ever to ever tell that story. So I appreciate you letting me tell it.
Perfect story.
That's awesome.
That's actually a perfect story to cap it off because Charlie, we are running up on time here
Already?
Yeah.
What?
And definitely,
Are you sure?
I am, bud. I'm sorry.
No.
Will's giving me that look.
Somebody check the time again.
No.
Run the numbers on the clock.
Stop it.
Charlie, this has been great, and we definitely appreciate the time. Unfortunately for me, I didn't even get to ask you about having Tuca on the boat or Patrice.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
Need to have another talk.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Don't tell us that.
About sprucing that boat up with like Patrick Kane and.
I'm all right with that as long as he can hang. A lot of these guys can't hang in my world. They're afraid to come on my boat because I chew them up and spit them out.
That's what it is.
I love it. I wish I could trash talk for him.
It ain't for the weak, man. It ain't for the weak.
That's awesome. That's why I haven't been on your boat. I'm such a wuss.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good. I appreciate you having me on, and we'll do it again. I'd just like to tell the people that are listening to the show that, fishing's supposed to be fun. So, throw away the rule book and just make sure you take someone out that likes to enjoy what you enjoy and go out and have some fun. And if they can catch up on my shows, that's great. And this show is all about having fun, just like fishing. So I certainly appreciate you boys having me on, and I'd love to do it again sometime.
Amen.
Oh, that'd be great.
Hey, Charlie, how can people follow you? How can they catch up with you and follow you on your shows? Let them know.
Yeah, so just go on to charliemore.com, and then all the shows. Like, I know we air in your area on Comcast in your area.
Yep.
I know we air like 3 times a week in your area, but that Hulu deal and that Amazon deal, that's going to be the next level of where we're going. But charliemore.com or any of my social media sites, we just, you can plug into where you are and you can locate where the show is. We air all over the world to 150 million homes, and nothing's better than watching Charlie Moore in closed caption in China. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have any?
Ni hao.
Do you have like a? Can we follow you on Facebook, Instagram, anything like that, Charlie?
Yeah, I have no idea what my sites are.
Gotcha.
Ever since Roseanne Barr got canceled, I'm staying away from Twitter.
Too soon.
You had somebody change all your usernames and passwords just so you couldn't.
Touche.
I must be out of it. I didn't know about that.
Stay off the Ambien or whatever it was. Yeah.
Good stuff, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
I did this whole podcast on Ambien.
You did great.
Sorry about that show deal you just lost.
You'd make the Kennedys proud on your ability to function on Ambien.
That's great.
So much fun. I appreciate
We'll
it.
see you soon. Thanks for having me on, boys.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks.
Hey, Ryan,
Yes, sir.
close us out. Tell them where they can find
Land
us.
this plane.
All right. You can check us out on rutandriverpursuits.com. The website's all updated and brand new. Check it out. And you can also find us on all of the standard social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, check out the YouTube page, Rutten River Pursuits Podcast. That's it, boys.
All right, guys.
Pack her up.
Thank you.
I'm going back to Beantown. See ya.
Peace.
Riggum weedless. Peace.
Later. Raccoon quiver.
All right. Thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
No.
All right.
Thank you.
That was delayed.
I have little seizures every once in a while.
That was your nickname in
That's
grade
right.
school. wasn't
Little
it?
seizures. Little Caesars pizza.
Jesus. Jesus.
Pizza.
Again, once we get started, we will turn into professionals, I promise you.
That's all right.
No, this is pretty much what you get. So.
I was going to say, where are you going with it? Don't promise things we can't catch.
All right. Let's get her rolling. Here we go.